I'm Cindy.
I'm Tori.
I'm Larry.
George Bush brought to the White House a dedication to traditional American values and a determination to direct them toward making the United States a kinder and gentler nation. For this speech, I reviewed the following information: whitehouse.gov, pbs.org, brainyquote.com, shepherdsoftware.com, wikipedia.org, bushlibrary.tamu.edu, stateflagsusa.com, and an interview with Edward Bracken, a United States Airman veteran. Howdy, my name is Anthony Gutierrez, and I'm going to speak to you about a few key points in the life of George H.W. Bush. These include his early life, his military life, and his life as President of the United States. I'll start off my speech by explaining to you who George H.W. Bush really is and exactly where he came from. George H.W. Bush once said, "Family is not a neutral word for me. It's a powerful word, full of emotional resonance. I was part of a strong family growing up, and I have been fortunate to have a strong family grow up around me." George H.W. Bush, son of Prescott and Dorothy Bush, was born June 12, 1924 in Milton, Massachusetts. But he and his family soon moved to a suburb of New York where he was raised. He was one of 5 children with 3 brothers and 1 sister. His father, a senator and wealthy businessman, greatly influenced George in his younger years, as did his mother, who instilled in him a sense of humility. She warned her children against bragging or having too many I's in one sentence. Prescott and Dorothy raised their 5 children to be a close-knit group. Following in his brother's footsteps, George H.W. Bush attended Phillips Academy beginning a year ahead of schedule. His junior year, Bush contracted a serious staph infection, which put him in the hospital for 6 weeks. Bush decided to repeat the year. His brothers and sisters have referred to this as a defining moment in his life, the making of George Bush. Now with students his own age, he came into his own. He was elected senior class president, captain of the baseball and soccer teams, and was a member of a number of other clubs. After graduating from Phillips Academy at the age of 18, George H.W. Bush decided to join the Navy. In December 1941, during Bush's senior year in Andover, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Bush heard the news while walking across campus and had what he called the typical American reaction that we had better do something about this. Against his father's wishes, Bush deferred acceptance to Yale and joined the Navy on his 18th birthday. For this speech, I interviewed Edward Bracken, who is a United States Air Force veteran. He joined the military right after he turned 18, much like George H.W. Bush, and went straight into basic training after graduating high school. Edward Bracken once said, "It was the best decision I've ever made. It definitely opened your eyes and makes you realize so much. I love it. It's as simple as that." 2 months after Bush joined the Navy, he boarded a train in North Carolina for flight training. He was the youngest pilot in the Navy when he received his wings. He flew 58 combat missions during World War II. On one mission over the Pacific, as a torpedo bomber pilot, he was shot down by Japanese anti-aircraft fire and was rescued from the water by a U.S. submarine. He was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross for bravery in action. While George H.W. Bush was running for president, he said in his campaign, I think I'd be a better president because I was in combat." George Herbert Walker Bush was the 41st President of the United States from 1989 to 1994, and had previously served as Vice President under Ronald Reagan. The Cold War came to a quiet end in the first half of the Bush presidency, and many wondered what this seismic shift would mean. Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein invaded neighboring Kuwait in the summer of 1990. Bush saw this as an opportunity to set a new standard for international cooperation in the post-Cold War world. A world in which the strong nations stood up for and protected the smaller, weaker ones. He assembled an extraordinary union to condemn Saddam Hussein's action. The Gulf War, also known as Operation Desert Storm, succeeded in driving Iraq out of Kuwait with minimal American deaths. Despite exceptional popularity from this military and diplomatic triumph, Bush was unable to withstand the displeasure at home from a faltering economy. rising violence in inner cities, and continued high deficit spending. In 1992, he lost his attempt for re-election to the Democrat William Clinton. I believe the fact that Bush knew both sides, what it was like to defend his country and what it was like to control it, made him one of the most knowledgeable presidents of the United States that the United States has ever had. George H.W. Bush once said, "I can tell you this, if I'm ever in a position to call the shots, I'm not going to rush to send somebody else's kids into the war." In conclusion, George H.W. Bush's early life, military life, and life as the President of the United States has proven he is a hard-working man who has accomplished many things in his lifetime and is such an inspiration to society. Oftentimes, the people of the United States feel as though the President only cares about themselves and not necessarily about the people of the nation. I can honestly say I believe George H.W. Bush truly cared about the people of the United States. He wanted better for our nation, and I think that is exactly what he gave us.